Today I try a color script for the first time. Color scripting is what animators use to tell the story. Basically loads of little thumbnails, one for each act. But it's more about using color to convey mood than it is about details. What's up? I'm Ellie and welcome to the channel. Something like this, but because I'm trying this for the first time, I will only be doing 2 thumbnails. But of course, to start, I need a story. And all I could see in my mind's eye when I thought color script was a little boy peeking out from behind a door, shocked and surprised all at once. So, that's what I went with. The biggest question though was, what on earth was he looking at? And we'll get into that later, but for now, putting down those first layers. A big part of this channel is to experiment and to develop as an artist. Part of that process over time is learning what your strengths are. And I have learned what my strengths are. I am no Picasso, but I swear, I have some skill. And I'm saying that perhaps for my own validation. Because leaning into these foreign concepts, these unfamiliar territories, can sometimes feel like I need to remind myself that I can do some things well. And I'm saying that because I know what's coming. But let's leave it there for now before I talk myself into a spiral. That's the first layers down, and so far I'm pretty happy with it. And I move forward remembering that this is less about detail and more about conveying mood and emotion through color. In my mind's eye, the vision was giving mysterious, so I tried to convey that with a variation of blues and even a bit of brown, which I later eliminate. And then some yellow to indicate light shining through the creak door. I felt that would add a dramatic touch. At this point, I'm already a few layers in and working hard on shadows. Capturing light and shadow from cast light is a skill I want to possess. And the few times that I've tried it, it never quite landed. In all honesty, I think I make things a whole lot harder for myself by not using references, or at least not often. And where I do use them, I use them mainly as a foundation, something that I can build on top of. And from there, I turn it into something of my own. So referencing color isn't something I ever really do. And I'll get into that a bit more later, but for now, here's the reveal. Not too shabby, I'm quite happy with how this turned out. And here's what he's looking at. Ta-da! I hit a total blank coming up with something he could have been looking at. A friend suggested a cake that is not to be touched, that just stands readily available in the kitchen. But I struggled with the perspectives, so tried something just a little bit simpler. And well, I think it fits quite nicely. The color, however, did not go as expected. But again, I wasn't using a reference, even though there was a reference. It is true that I don't often use references. And it is true that I will use it to create the bones of my own drawing. But a big contributing factor as to why I don't use references for the most part is a shortage of devices. It's difficult to record and reference with just one device. So I'll generally use the reference just to create the initial sketch, and then wing the rest and record that process. It's not very conducive to development, but the important thing is that I've made it work, and I can certainly make a few adjustments to incorporate a bit more referencing. There is no such thing as can't. And honestly, I think it's necessary because I can see the difference in my work when I do use a reference properly. And at this point, it was still looking pretty good. I was still very optimistic that this is going my way. And not to beat the dead horse with a stick or anything, but I actually had no clue what I was supposed to do. I had a basic idea of where shadows might go and where light might reflect, but also not really. So I just did what made sense as much as possible. And it still looks pretty okay at this stage. Well, let's just say it was short-lived satisfaction, because this. And actually at this angle, it doesn't look that bad. but it really is. And it's taken absolutely everything in me to reveal it to you. Because up until now, compared to all the disappointing art I have made and dabbled in up until this point, this is by far the worst one. And that's it. Thank you so much for your time.